Greetings, Internet. My name is Aaron. Today I have an expose of a phenomenon I've recently learned about, become privy to, which is the phenomenon of rubber bridge guitars. The first time I heard a rubber bridge guitar was on a recording by Madison Cunningham of a song called Life According to Rachel, which is a great song I would go listen to. And I also made a guitar tutorial on it if you want to learn how to play it. But one thing that bothered me and haunted me about that song was the sound of Madison's guitar while she played it. It was super warm and punchy and kind of dead sounding. And so I was like, how is she getting that sound? And then I watched her. She did an interview. I can't remember with who. It might have been Pablo Held, or maybe it was Josh Scott from JHS. Don't remember. Doesn't really matter. But she talked about rubber bridge guitars and how her producer, Tyler Chester, has a rubber bridge guitar. And that's what she used to record that. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I tried to do certain things to make the guitar sound dead, like palm muting. It was basically the only thing I tried. And I knew she was running through some kind of amp. I don't think that guitar was just recorded in the room. It sounded like she was running through some kind of amp. So I thought maybe I'd do that. Didn't really work. Then I found this out. I was like, okay. So looked into rubber bridge guitars. They don't really make like replacement bridges, and replacing a bridge can be kind of strange. Like most bridges these days are compensated, so you would have to have the perfect amount of compensation. So whoever made the rubber bridge would have to make a million different types of rubber bridges, and some bridges are not so easily, especially if you have an electric guitar, they're not so easily replaced. This guitar here, theoretically it could be replaced quite easy because the bridge actually just sits in a slot, and the only thing holding it in there is the tension of the strings on top. So theoretically you could do it. If I found like a good piece of rubber, I might be able to cut out like a bridge sized piece of it and make one. But I don't have a good piece of rubber, and I'm not even really sure the tools to cut rubber. I imagine it's pretty easy, but I don't know. But anyway, so I thought of ways in which I could approximate that sound, and essentially what I came up with is just getting a strip of rubber and running it across the top of the strings. Or not the top of the strings, under the strings on top of the bridge. And what I ended up doing was using electrical tape. I didn't want to tape my guitar, so what I did was took probably 10 or 12 pieces, bridge length pieces of electrical tape, folded it over itself quite a few times so I didn't get any residue on my guitar, because I happen to like this guitar, and wedged it underneath the strings and over the bridge. And so now I have what is, the approximation of a rubber bridge guitar. You can see the electrical tape there, just kind of sitting under those strings. And in that way, it's interfering with the vibrations as they pass to the bridge. It's deadening them. It's not letting, normal bridges are made out of plastic or no. Okay, I can't talk. Plastic or bone or tusk, which is like a synthetic material, and they're very hard, and they're meant to vibrate with the strings. They're meant to pass on the vibration of your strings to your soundboard or to a pickup or whatever you have. And rubber is kind of the exact opposite of that. It's soft and sound absorby. I don't necessarily know how to describe it, but it doesn't transfer vibrations very well. So it gives it this very characteristic sound, very very distinct. That's a good word. A very distinct sound, which sounds like this. Probably going to be out of tune. Oh, not bad. That's one problem I had with the rubber bridge guitar is my approximation of a rubber bridge guitar. Rubber bridge. That's such a hard two words to say. Rubber bridge guitar is because the tape is soft and is being pushed down on by the strings. You would kind of tighten it up and it would push down more, tighten it up, push down more. It's something that I think eventually will go away once it's fully set. but like now it seems to be doing okay. But you get this very dead, warm, punchy tone out of the guitar. Let me turn this up a little bit. So yeah, it's got this very, and I suspect there are ways to pretty it up. Like maybe run it through some reverb. I think that would be good. And but yeah, it sounds very, very similar to the Madison Cunningham recording, especially those bass notes. Like her bass was so punchy and round when I listened. Part of that is because she's tuning down significantly to just C standard. And the other part is just the rubber bridge really, I don't know, it makes those bass notes punch right through. Oops. Beautiful. I love it. So yeah, I was really happy with that. There's some tinkering to do. I think some refinement. But I mean, I don't think there's any need to really go spend a lot of money on these rubber bridge guitars. They're usually entire guitars that have just been, have a bridge of rubber. But I mean, if you can do a similar thing, in some guitars, you may run into problems. You might not have a bridge that's so easy to just put a piece of tape over or a couple pieces of tape over or whatever. But I think if you want to get into the sound and see if you can do something with it, you could do it this way instead of going and buying a whole guitar. Approximate it, get a good feel for the sound, and then if it's something you're really, really into, maybe then go buy the guitar. But if you're just trying to mess around or get like a single take or recording of a rubber bridge guitar, I think this is a good option. And it does sound really good through an amp for some reason. Like I'm running through that Roland. It's just a Roland keyboard amp, which actually makes a great acoustic guitar amp as well. Because, I mean, keyboard amps, bass amps, acoustic guitar amps, they're all basically the same thing. They're just full range amps. So you can use them for whatever. There might be some, nuance in an acoustic guitar amp that I'm just not familiar with, but it sounds great through that. Even some like solid state, like I have a tiny little Fender Champion practice amp, and it sounds good through that. I don't know. And everything's just its own sound that you can figure out how to use. Digressions aside, it is Sunday, January 22nd, 4:30 in the morning, and that's all I got. If you have any questions about rubber bridge amps, rubber bridge guitars, that's a good, well, no, not really. Rubber bridge guitars, leave a comment. I'll try to address it. It's fairly straightforward. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch you later.